Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Crossroads, where faith meets real life. And today I am Arama. This is my co-host Joy, and we are joined with Bishop Teapot. And today we are here with another juicy episode for you.
Yeah, so once again, like Arama said, welcome. We're carrying on from last week. If you remember, we got into a topic and we said we'll leave it for this episode. And we spoke a little bit about planning and organizing your life and organizing, I think Bishop said, your plate, your schedule, things like that. And he said in this episode we're going to go into much more detail, much more depth, and we're excited to get into it today. So yeah.
Absolutely. Bishop, anything you'd like to say to them before we get started?
No, just to welcome all the listeners, all the viewers to our episode of Crossroads once again. It's wonderful to know what you can do when you are at the crossroad. Many people struggle when they reach the crossroads of this life. But speaking to all levels of people, children, the Gen Z, the elderly, a crossroad will always come. But when you know what to do when you reach that place and you regularize it, you find that there's always a route through a crossroad. So welcome to another episode, and we believe by the end of this episode, somebody will have learned something vital for them to sail through or pass through the crossroads of this life. Welcome once again.
And I think I'll kick the conversation off by simply stating, last week we spoke about, your journey towards ministry, the sacrifices you had to make with football, and even for the opportunities to have your own family and move to the UK. All that isn't possible without a plan. So I'd say to you, how's the importance of planning played a part to getting to where we are now?
Planning is very vital in every walk of life. I think we said last week in the last episode that failure to plan is planning to fail. And even God himself, in creating the world, which was his world, he planned himself to create all what we see in creation. He ordered things in place. Planning is organization, to put things in order, to make sure that as you take a journey or you're on a project, that should not just be another walk, strolling in a park and coming back home empty. That's a leisure. You're taking a leisure walk. But when you are serious and you mean business, and you want to hit the end of a project, which we call a destiny in spiritual lives, you plan yourselves. You know that I am going to this with a focused, purposed mind. In Philippians 1 verse 6, Apostle Paul, the old Apostle Paul, was encouraging believers in this city called Philippi in Asia Minor at that time. He says, being confident of this very thing, that he who began a good work in you shall perfect or complete it by the day of the Lord Jesus. And you can see from what this great Apostle Paul is, a great apostle is saying, God begins and God finishes. And when God starts something, he is going to go all the way to the end because he's a good planner. So if our Creator, and we are following him, who is always planned or has always come up with a plan when he's doing things, we can't do otherwise. His son Jesus Christ, when he came, he even gave an example that how many of you would go into war or we're going to build a project without counting the cost?
Yeah.
So planning is putting the prices, budgeting, putting the asset side of life, that these are my assets, these are my liabilities. Do I have enough capital, or can I start with this, and as I go I'll be feeding into it, adding spices to it this way and that way until you get to the end of the road where there is good success. So every servant of God, every person who succeeded, we read about in the Bible, but also in this life, all the Bill Gates, all these great men that have started good businesses. We know, most of us, we follow football, the Abramoviches, the Grazers, the what of this day. if you check, they started with even if it's a little plan, but that's what has taken them to the point of success.
Yeah.
So if there's no planning, there's no definite end. There's no proper destiny. So planning is organizing, ordering things and putting them in place. But also you know that as you do everything, there are challenges. That's why you have to pay the price. You put costs and you attach whatever things are there. You know the SWOT analysis, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats and what have you. All that helps us to be a people who are always looking at pros and cons as we gear up to do something great. Nothing great in this world has been achieved without a plan.
Yeah.
And in terms of planning as well, one thing which I've noticed as well with young people as well is they can make a plan, but they can struggle to stay consistent with a plan over a set period of time.
Yeah.
So do you have any tips or advice on how can you stay with one plan and stick with it for a course of time?
Yes, plans succeed when you have a system. The moment you have put a plan in place, also set up what are called systems. Systems are, to make it simple, because we are also speaking a lot into the Gen Z, systems are like a regular way of approaching your problem or your project. Okay. So you have to have a steady module that you follow or you flow with to achieve certain ends. In this particular case, I want to speak about the word systematic. Be systematic with the thing that you desire to do. A lot of young people, they copycat others when they want to do something. Orama is good at this area of filming. Joe is a computer wizard. Now, I am good in administration or administering people and putting people in position. If the three of us can come together and we take a part of what Joe has, a part of what Olam has, and we put a plan to say, let's start something we call Crossroads. If each one of us specializes and does what they do best, and that means you are doing it systematically, you are being regular, and you are doing and flowing in the way you know how best to flow in this area, you'll discover that crossroads will happen and things will be moving on. Now, it's the same with you. If you are starting your own business, you should know your weaknesses and your strengths. And you should also know the areas that maybe you are good at in spite of the threats or the weaknesses that are there. And be systematic in whatever you do in order to put a lot of effort in the things that can give you more strength and vigor to achieve what are your goals in life. So in this particular case for young people, what I can say is that when God has put a desire in your heart, when God has put a thought line in your heart to do something, the first thing that you look at is that, do I have the ability myself? Am I good on my own? Can I do this? If I have the ability but I still need extra hands, who is well versed to flow with me in this direction? And when that person comes in there, you agree on a systematic approach of how to do whatever you're going to do on a regular basis. And also not copycat or maybe a copycat of other people's systems or strategies. Of course, things can resemble, but you still have something that you want to achieve that nobody has achieved. As a result, you stick to your plan and you do it by following that pattern, that system. And that system should not be disturbed unless you get to the end of the cycle. And the cycles in this life are always there, where you do things in a regular pattern, in a regular way. And when it is not working, you can change it. And that's where systems come to say, this system has not worked, let's try another system. But let's do and project ourselves into the future by taking a system that we know we can ably execute, but not just taking anything that somebody is doing or somebody was throwing in. You discover that you do that for the rest of your life without achieving the end of your
So on top of that, just maybe for the younger viewers as well, something I'd relate to that is during football, the new managers come into a club, they bring in their systems and they want to get their players in to play their way of football, they have their tactics. And maybe that system will work for a while, like you said, but even when it doesn't work, you might have to change it after a period of time. But what we see a lot in football is they stick to their system. This player should play that position, this type of way of football I want to play, and we see that a lot. So I think that's a key thing which I just picked up from what you mentioned.
Yeah, you are right, very right, Joe. And you must know also that some systems are short-term, some are long-term. And there are some things, as you have rightly put it, that you see that a successful club had Sir Alex Ferguson for a long time. And in the period that he has led that club to success, he changed maybe systems 10 times. And what worked for him also depended on the type of players he had. So if he maintained a certain group of players, maybe he started with them when they were young and he went with them for 10 years, that would have been maybe the most successful period of his era of being the manager of Man U. Now, if another coach comes and just inherits to say, oh, he has been successful with these players, but he has his different system, as well said, you discover that it may not work. But what you can do is that, okay, up to the end of the season, let me embed the system that I found, but with also my ideas that I think can succeed. There should be a balance, short term. When we reach the end of the season, if they can help me get 1 or 2 players that can fit my system, then we can start now bringing them slowly so that I build my own team, which will be based on my system only. So certain systems are good that maybe you may find, and certain clubs or institutions have got a system they use depending on their template, their constitution. But sometimes it also depends on who is executing the plan. When another manager comes and says, but you know, I'm also in human resource management. I'm an administrator. These ones we're doing, but we can also do, there's another system we employ which can give us success. And man being say, let's try that. And if it's working, they say, we are now moving into this system. And so that's why we are saying, even systems, they are tried. What works is what you see can take us into the wrong hole. That's why it will become a long-term system. But what you think is temporary, it can be a short-term system. But real successful people, they've kept doing the same thing that has given them success over and over again. They just input more resources in order to expand or what have you. So systems can change depending on who is managing them, the resources that are there, the institutional concept of doing those things through your constitution, your template, but also the key players that you are using there, human resources. Sometimes I cannot do much with this type of players. So you see, So sometimes we most of the managers, and I feel sorry for football managers because they say it's a results game. So sometimes he doesn't have the players to deliver. But this man has been told we have to survive. We have to be in top 4. But even if he has good systems, I mean, we don't want to mention them, but the supporters and the viewers know. I can tell you, this is a very good coach. I see him and see what he can produce on his day. He can beat anybody. But now, because maybe they are conflicting systems. It might be his own system or the system of the club. Some clubs have got other structures there where they say this manager may also not even be the one who is choosing the team, who is selecting the team. It happens. Those are systems. So systems have to agree. No matter whatever happens, they have to agree towards one common goal if you want to succeed. But it's a life where systems have to be, but systems are like standards, structures, hierarchies, bureaucracies that you follow in order to achieve a desired end. But we are in a territory where the young, growing, aspiring generation that will rule this world tomorrow is dynamic. Every day they can change. So you guys are in a good era because you can change systems anyhow. You can change every day. You can try this and what have you. I mean, I always tell young people that you're not in a hurry. You have got the whole land to possess. So you try this and that, and in the computer world, every day you can introduce a new system or you can change around. I've seen even my daughter is a chef, and I know that it's not just the food as we know it, but they sometimes try this recipe, they try to mix this and that, and then the producer, and they give it a name, this soup by that chef, and that. So it's a world that is dynamic, it's revolving, so systems can change anyhow. So young people should just be ambitious to say, oh, God will give me. If God has put an idea in my mind, as I go along, there will be changes of systems here and there. But as long as it is coming from me, it is what will work for me. I shouldn't just be a copycat of somebody, or it shouldn't just be a copycat of somebody's system. So over the years, in my case, when I said I'll share with you my heart. When I am, I've proposed, I've packaged something, or I've thought about something that I want to achieve or do in this life, I get so glued to it. I make up my mind. I don't just go into anything without thinking about it. That's the planning. And when I'm truly sure this is from God, I go for it. That's why I've written now 5 books, home sale pamphlets, and quite a number of publications. I didn't go to any training to be an author or what. But at one point in time, when I just felt the call of God and whatever God wants me to do, before I even went on full-time ministry, I was working that time, a desire came into me to write a book. And I was a young pastor. There were people ahead of me. I told them that this is what God, and they even gave me their endorsement. One of my books was just endorsed by a big father in the Lord who said, "No, this is good. I've never seen so at a young and tender age." And then I gave even myself a mandate to say every 2 years I should be producing a book. Until I came here, when I was in Malawi, maybe I wrote 1 or 2. When I went to Bible school, I wrote another one. When I came here, I wrote maybe 3 or so. Of course, the problem is that sales in books are not as, especially in the church, especially you church members, you church people, you don't buy a book. You want free ones. So I hope your generation is not the one that wants free books. But what I'm read it on the screen. But what I'm saying, because of course today we have AI, so people can, and people want electronic copies. But nothing wrong with that. All I'm trying to say is that when you are somebody who conjure up something, who has an idea, you need to make up your mind to be solidly built around it, to say, I can do it, and I will do it, and be determined and flow with it until you get to a place where you say, no, I think I've tried all I can. Because sometimes it's the lack of determination that doesn't give people the end of it. That word determination, at the end there's termination. It's not just to terminate, but to take you to the terminal, to the end. So you need to be determined to go all the way to the end, no matter what happens on the way, to say, I'll go all the way there. Of course, certain things can change, but know what you are doing. Know what you are good at, and employ a system.
I would say, speaking on that, most people's system, it actually doesn't change much across the course of their life. I'd say most people repeat the same habits, think the same thoughts, and do the same actions day to day without doing that analysis. And so they're in a system that's essentially not working for them, and their reluctance to change doesn't allow them to try a new system or admit that, you know what, this system isn't working, let's try this. How do you think people can combat that, especially young people, where it's like, as you said, we have the ability to be so dynamic now, but with that much choice, you are also kind of exposed to so many ideas, thoughts, etc. Whereas before, maybe it was like 3 different paths. You now have the opportunity to do anything. So how would you advise those people who are in a system that's not working for them, and also at the same time they are still trying to earn and yearn for more, but they haven't done that evaluation of themselves?
No, it's a very good practical question, which you have already answered, because you mentioned 2 words there that are very critical. The first word is analysis, and the second one is review, which may not be different, though they are different. So I'll say that every successful person needs to do a self-review. I always say to leaders, if a leader is good at reviewing others, dissecting others, say the 3 of us are leaders, and all the time I come to you, well, how do you do things? And I don't give you the chance also of speaking into my life. Similarly with Joe. And I'm not a good leader, because a good leader, before you point at somebody, you can say, how do I help him? Number 1, what am I not doing right? If every time we discuss we're going to do it this way, maybe it's my communication, maybe it's my support to him. So you should also do a self review. Review yourself. Check, am I doing everything perfect? Am I communicating? If I'm the manager, the managing director, are my instructions clear? Am I down to earth? Am I, bringing myself to his level and agreeing that we're moving together? Or you are handling A, B, C, I'm handling this and what have you? So that sometimes somebody's poor performance reflects on who is managing them. Yeah. So there is a difference between a manager and a leader. Maybe another episode we'll look at that to see who is a manager, who is a leader.
Yeah.
Because a manager manages things but he has to have tools, while a leader guides people, even where there are not enough tools.
Yeah.
He trains, he grooms them, he plants himself, duplicates or replicates himself in others. While somebody who may not even transfer himself into others, it's just like you are on your own, but I want you to produce ABC. Without that. So it's a very good topic. So number one, review yourself. Whatever you are doing, whatever system you are employing, it should be subject to review. It has to be. That's why come end of year, people speak about making New Year resolutions. But you don't make New Year resolutions when you haven't looked at the past year's poor decisions you had and poor areas. Yeah. So you come to the end of the year and say, what did we do right? What did we not get right? Husband and wife, sometimes without blaming each other, you need to sit down and say, please, can you assess me? My dear, you guys are going that way. One of these days, God has blessed you. When you are going along, if it has to succeed, there should be room for, say, my dear, please, tell me everything. Because I can only be perfect in the way you perfect me. I can only be valuable in the way you value me. And I can only devalue everything in me in the way you devalue me. So it's you who put value on me or devalue me. So please tell me everything. What do you see right in me? What upright in me? What do you see as a downside in me? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Similarly, the other one after experience, and it's not for fighting, but it's just a matter of helping each other improve, or to give a person a reflection of what the outside world may be seeing or may experience. If you don't check this and that, review yourself, review your system, review the way you do things, review the way you are handling things or handling others. Analysis is a very, very important thing, especially you people in the computer world and everything that we are doing there. Everything you do in this way, in this world, especially in the modern world, is subject to analytical views and even approaches or reproaches from people. People do analyze. You may be thinking this way, you may plan that we are doing this, somebody will come, do you think they are doing Crossroads? No. Those people are stealing, they are stealing ideas, this or no. So analysis. And you cannot run away from analytical approaches of things. So you need to sit down and also analyze. This thing internally is looking like this. Let's view at it. Let's say have a view at it from outside. Let's watch Crossroads ourselves. You send me something, I don't just listen to it. I've listened to that introductory maybe 10 times. Because what I'm asking, if a person is in the village somewhere, they can understand English. I'm not saying about language, no. But I'm saying they are there. They are now trying to, how are they going to apply what we are sharing with them now? What are they thinking? If a person is between the age of 10 to 20 or a teenager, are they getting anything from this? If a person is in the young adults, if a person is in the young married couples, are they getting? So you've seen, as we are speaking here, we are giving examples, not only for gender, we say young couples. They need to sit down and you see. So that is an analytical approach, because when you analyze and digest everything, so crossover is about the total man who meets real life issues and who can come to Crossroads. And then when you take that analytical approach, because you're saying our product, our good and service is maybe for the total man, for the whole house, for parents, for fathers, for mothers, for young people, even for a child, somewhere we'll get something and what have you. That's an analytical approach, which is subject to your own personal, or even giving other people the chance to analyze what they are seeing, what they are getting from there and what have you. Yeah, so all those are things that will make somebody to succeed or when you have a plan or a project in place for something to be achieved.
I think you touched on the conversations that maybe people need to have in order to be able to review themselves. I'm of the impression that, especially as young people, or maybe as well with people who are a bit older, a lot of people shy away from these sort of conversations because it is a bit uncomfortable to kind of be stripped bare and have your flaws put on display for everybody. So how have you navigated tough conversations, especially with administration? You, if anybody, are having unpleasant conversations more often than not. And how do you manage that, and how do you touch that subject?
I learned something from Proverbs 24 verse 16. It says, a righteous man falls 7 times, but he rises up all the time. Now, I've seen, and we'll be giving examples of things that we know, and we have participated, we played that sport or other. I've seen a team that has performed poorly first half, very poor. You were expecting a lot from them, or you were taking them as the favorites. The team that is now underdogs have done well. And then come halftime, they go to the dressing room. A good analytical coach, a good manager who knows how to review and to dissect things, can sit down with them and pinpoint. You or Rama, you are positioning yourself wrongly. This is not what we are. Our system says this. Okay, you are doing what we do, but this team has studied you, so they are now attacking from your left leg side. You are good on this, so all the attacks they are bringing them to the other side. So I'm repositioning you, I'm changing you, or I'm substituting you. That is not easy to swallow, to take. But if you are the reliable player, you still tell you, okay, I'm changing your position, and also I'm changing the way you defend or the way you attack, because the system works this way. But for this one, you have to go through the pains of using this side or this position and what have you. If you follow that advice, and if it is on point, you discover that through the pains and what have you, you've improved and the game has changed. And I've seen games that have changed, and you say, how can this team which has missed 10 chances first half, this second half not even 1 chance? But these ones, they just had the 2 chances they've scored. But first half, why? Because they did a good review, a good analysis and whatever. Now, as we are saying that many people do not want this position of being reviewed, being analyzed, if we can put it that way, or even if it is husband and wife or a young couple, to sit down and your spouse. Or because sometimes we people, especially we who pray, we say, I'm the head of the wife, I'm the wife. What can you tell me? No. Where things are today, there are some women that are powerful leaders, powerful managers. Well, they know much more in terms of how to manage people, handle people. I'm not saying that you cannot handle as a husband, no, but what I'm trying to say, this person can help you, can also give you some tips of how to you there. You shouldn't have rushed to get angry. You should have just been patient with that person. You have to work. Things that if you take on board, they will stabilize your family, your peace, and what have you. Why not take them on board? Now, so what I'm trying to say, where somebody does not use failure to their advantage by accepting to be criticized, to be critiqued in a good way, to be helped to change their stance, you're just planning to fail. You are not going to succeed. You should accept correction. Correction and direction is equal to destiny. I'll say that again. Where there's correction and direction, you get to destiny. I always tell people that the children of Israel who survived in the wilderness and made it to the promised land, they were living by correctives and directives that God was giving. Correctives are the things that they say, correct this, change this. Directives are things that you are just told and directed to say, do it this way. And that took them to their destiny. But those who say, it's for me, no, we better go back. We had watermelons, who didn't take the formula of correction plus direction, they didn't have destiny. So correction plus direction is equal to destiny. So reviewing and analyzing is just for your own good. It is correcting the errors that will cause you to stumble on the way, but it's also giving you a direct route, a straight route, or a clear path to destiny. I hope maybe I may have answered your question in a way, because I know that many people who are very gifted, even prayers, who should have been up there, they just fell out with their coach, who was trying to help them.
Yeah,
Of course, I'm not trying to say the coach is always right. Sometimes the coach can get it wrong, but it means he himself is also not accepting to change certain things. So where somebody does not accept correction, sometimes you work towards your own demise. Sometimes even not for a career, and what have you. But I know people who were very. I come from Malawi, and we had prayers that I even mentioned to my son today. I don't want to mention the name. Most people in Malawi are also listening. But you see, we mock. But these prayers, they started as you. When I mentioned them, my son knows that you even mock other bad players by that name. But this person is stuck to his team. This person is stuck. Even in those days, we used to say, because people play systems, the man-to-man, passing the ball, but those type of defenders, they are the ones who in those days say pulley, means just shooting long balls and whatever. And sometimes he misses. That particular one, he was a good he was strong, but he would miss because his type of defender was just to sweep the ball, sweep the man, or clear the ball. So sometimes people knew him that he's coming to hit the ball. They just push a bit, the way he will miss and he falls there. And sometimes even conceding a goal in the process. Now, so when you mention those names, people be laughing. But you know what? One pertinent guy that was he stayed with the team until he became captain, until he went to the national team. And later on, people not even speak bad of him. Why? Because the man accepted that I have shortfalls. He accepted to improve. He was improving his game. He was stable. So one other problem I've seen with the young generation is instability, impatience. You leave your duty post, your assignment, you leave your career, you leave something because somebody is giving me problem. Especially this area where you are finding tough time with maybe the type of work, the time, maybe that time you want to enjoy, you want free weekends, you want and sometimes the harsh boss, or sometimes some harsh bosses are there to give you directives or correctives that may not be palatable now, but you need them tomorrow. But I've seen some young people, they become unstable, and they become truant. They move from job to job until you do not. A rolling stone does not gather moss. So I've seen that in the young generation, that they are not patient to bear with so much reproach or so much. I'm not saying that you should be marginalized or mistreated. No, but I'm saying some jobs you go through hardships. Some jobs are tough. The timings, the hours you spend, the deliveries of things according to the time schedules and what have you, and sometimes you might just find a hardcore manager who does not believe in laissez-faire approaches and things that are not delivered on time. And everywhere you have to do things on time. But sometimes to keep up with that pace, you just need to be patient, and you just need to be a bit stable in your mind.
On that point, because I've got a personal experience where I was working at a job, but I took it into my own hands to say this isn't for me anymore, and I wanted to leave that place and move on. I feel like there was a moment of time where I was patient, like I think I overstayed as much as I wanted to, but there was finally a point I said I shouldn't be here, I should move on. What do you think goes into decisions like those when somebody decides it's time to move? Looking back now, I'm thinking, was I impatient? I mean, glory to God, it worked out, but sometimes people make decisions and it doesn't work out, and they say, I should have maybe stayed in this situation for a bit longer and bared with.
Yeah, I've changed jobs myself, but I've also kept jobs. I've moved sometimes to improve myself, maybe because I'm struggling economically, but also sometimes because of the location and depending on the business or the hour. And in my case, the business or the hour was ministry, because though I as I told you, when I finished the uni and I wanted just to build my career and my future life, it was based on my Christian faith that I need to be planted in a good church in the area that I had grown up in, where I knew people who were spiritual fathers would look after me. So some jobs would take me away from that type of location, but also some jobs would be more or less like give me tough time that in terms of the economic condition as I was growing, raising a family. children are coming, I needed the resources and what have you. So I've changed a few, not some. I gave you the examples of what happened and what have you. Now, there's a time to relocate. There's always a time to change. But in my view, as a Christian, what I grew up with was that the God who gave me something and the God who located something for me, or placed me somewhere, has to give me a confirmation in my heart, has to more or less like show me that he is agreeing with me to relocate. So I used to use the term that he owns everything in the world, but he has specific locations where he says, if you are here, there's a future, and here. So that's the way he also gives you maybe a life partner, that this one will match you, Rama. This one will match you, Joe. This one will be the best female that you spend your life whole time with and raise your children with. And so he knows what's best for us. And that's why we pray to him. We are guided by him. Somebody who may not be in the Christian faith, they just find themselves, I love this profession. I want to be a pilot. I want to be an engineer. I believe it's still the Spirit of God leading them in the area that they have an inclination or they are good at. And when you go into an area where you have an inclination, it's your profession, it's your career, your lifetime career. When you are moving, you need to be sure it is time to move. Because sometimes people have sacrificed their whole lifetime career and they end up doing something that they will never succeed in, and they end up not even performing to their best and what have you. But I'm not saying that people have not changed maybe the career there, because I've seen people and I've known people who said, as I was growing up, my parents wanted me to do this or myself, but when I came here, because of my grades, but you can develop a love for something that you are doing, as long as you have the rightful knowledge of doing that and you're now enjoying that work and what have you, that job. So, one or two things that I can say from this practical question Joe has raised. Number one, be very careful when you are relocating or leaving a career path, a profession, a business errand, the thing that you are doing. Be sure that where you are going to is there's green grass. Where you are going to, you know for sure that I sense I will succeed there. I will do better there. I'm struggling here. Or I'm not well equipped here, I'm not being well prepared for my future and what have you. So I'm improving myself. So number one, change of career or certain professions or business errands is for improvement's sake. Number two, you should, as a Christian, you should be sure that the Lord is leading you. Don't make decisions based on pressure. Don't make decisions based on competition or comparison. So there are some people who say, Joe, now he went to the uni, he studied computer science, now he's working in a computer profession. I went to the uni, I studied history, but I'm doing social work, a job which is not in my, no, now in this case, now what I'll do, I'll just, wait for your time, wait for the right opportunity. Yes, while you are waiting, you can still find something that you will say, okay, I'm temporarily here, but in the process you may discover that that thing God is using to equip you even further. They are sending you to go and study and do a master's, do a PhD. No, it's not just going for the sake of getting a master's or PhD, but you are feeling, I'm getting inclined because I think I know this. Somewhere, somehow, you discover that that thing that I learned can still be applied here, and I like what I'm doing. So be sensitively clear that I have sensed something in my heart that there seems to be, though it is not looking that rosy on that other side, but I think I can also upgrade myself and find a way out to get to a place I want to be or to get the satisfaction. Because to me, the most important thing when you do anything is the satisfaction. In work, in the working atmosphere and in the business world, in the marketplace, we as believers will always say, it's not the resources, it's not the riches, it's not the fame, the glory, but the satisfaction. What I learned is that if you have job satisfaction in whatever you are doing, you can do it for the rest of your life. You can be happy. And you may not be very rich, but you are just satisfied. It's the same even in a marriage. You can be not as the other couple are. You can have less than what they have, but you can be more happier than they are by being satisfied with what God gave you, with the person, that the person just fills you with joy, peace, and love. That's the most important thing. So we are applying a number of things here. It's the same in the question that Joe has asked, that you know what, You relocate only when it's cold. Number two, you relocate when it is going to do you good, and it is going to give you satisfaction in the long term and what have you.
Yeah, that's really important. I mean, I think most people now, what they do things for, I don't think they understand why they do anything they do. Most of the things as well, as soon as you grow up from a child, the systems that are brought onto you are somebody else's systems. It's not your own system. You learn somebody else's system. You finally leave that, and once you do get pushed into the world to, you know, find your own system, that can feel very heavy because, like I said previously, you have so much open to you. And you've given the example, Joy, for example, has a computer degree, whereas I'm a uni dropout. So we both have different sorts of career paths, but yet we still end up in the same place. So I think, what would you say to those who they're a bit unsure of their systems or unsure of where they're going?
I think this is a big topic that we are speaking into here, and I can use several models. I can use it in the marketplace, business place, where somebody is working or is doing business. I can use it in the family. I can use it in a career and what have you. What Orama just said here, I don't know whether many viewers or listeners have really picked, but what has happened in this life to most of us and to many people is that when we reach a certain stage where we have to define our destiny, we have to make decisions, we are not yet mature and responsible, or sometimes even available to get into the next phase. We are not fully ready, because school is good, uni is good, but sometimes it doesn't mean that it fully prepares you to get to the place, and I'm not attacking school, that you also need some wisdom, some maturity, and some guidance, some stalwarts who have gone through that way to help you to say, I think you need to, I know you're doing well, I know you passed with distinction, I know you passed with Franca, everybody is looking out for you, 7 companies are looking for you, and you want to go to Mercedes-Benz, so you want to, while somebody will say, but you know what? Choose Toyota. Don't go to Mercedes. I'm just giving examples. So, similarly, even in marriages, sometimes it's the culture, the beliefs there to say, when you reach this age, you finish uni before you even get a job, you come into the village, we marry you, because you cannot go, it's too much. One person in our unit said when he was talking to his uncle, when he was almost finishing his undergraduate studies, and then there was an opportunity to go and do masters, the uncle says, brother, one of these days you are going to learn math. You've been telling us after primary school that, no, I just need 4 years in secondary. We released you. Your friends are getting married. And you go to secondary and say, I need another 4 years in uni. Now you have come. You are telling us that you need another 2 years to do. What do you call this master? One of these days you are going to learn math. Now he is an uncle in the village. He said he's being delayed to see this young man get married and give him these grandchildren or whatever. So he is forced to say, no, even though you don't have a house, you don't have we'll just give you some hut here in the village to use while you are looking for a job, and then you're going to marry, you go into town, look for a job, and then you come pick your wife and children later on. So sometimes decisions are made for us. Sometimes we make decisions because of their peer pressure. My friends have already gotten this. How about me? I'm lagging behind without taking your time, and then look around, check around, check the proper employers and what have you, bring your CV to the rightful people and market yourself and what have you. So that has happened in many young people or young aspiring future parents or what have you. You may call it, and it has been there. What do we do? I think we need to take one step at a time, one day at a time. But Rome was not built in a day. But what you can do is that with each passing day, as you are looking at where you want to be, and you're looking at the career you want to develop, patiently looking at the success of some people who have gone through that route, go and learn from them. Sometimes it's good to go for even further training in some areas to prepare you for the practical work that you are going to do, because school gives us much of the theoretical work, but there are certain things that you have to do, temporary jobs and temporary errands or temporary grooming and training under certain people who have gone through that. Not everybody will go through that route, but where it's possible, when it is not working for you, it has not happened, you just need to take one day at a time. Learn, be counseled, be tutored, train yourself. Do not stop learning. If there's an opportunity that you can invest while you are working for, if there's some funding you can get while you are waiting for that opportunity, you're still going for further training and a further preparation period. Big preparation is very important. Preparation and opportunity. When there is preparation and the opportunities will give us success. Preparation and opportunity will always bring success. So I have opportunity, but if I take time to prepare, to excel in those, one day I will succeed. So there's also preparation time, even in things of God. There are so many people God took to the wilderness, like Moses in Midian, Apostle Paul, the backside of the desert of Saudi Arabia. And we see John the Baptist in the wilderness until the day showing that now Christ is coming. And all these people, they were in the wilderness for some time. The wilderness was also a place of preparation for destiny defining moments of people of God. So I know school prepares us, but sometimes it may not prepare you in full for the maturity that is required at that next stage. And I know parents also prepare us for destiny, but sometimes we can get to a place where in their time they used to marry at this stage, at this level, but in our time there are so many things that are happening, and so many things maybe you can do before you just did like what dad did or mom did. You have to get the right Mr., the right Mrs. And you need to take that time as time to prepare, learn from others. Others are even making mistakes in the process. You can learn from that. No, I don't want to make a mistake because it will not be good. Oh, I've learned from you. And so take that time as a time that you are also learning, preparing, and equipping yourself. That when the day arrives, that you are entering into there, you know some things that will help you to know where to put your foot and not where to step on and what have you. So I think it's a wide area. As I say, it's a big thing if we are going to speak into it, because I know of people who say, I am here because I was pushed into this. I'm here because culture demanded that I do this. I'm here because my parents told me that they wanted me to do this profession. Parents, if you are hearing me, don't push children into your profession, into the profession you like. Ask them, but also help them see what they are properly inclined into. If somebody is a good geographer, don't push him to go and dissect animals in what I do. Help him to become a pilot. If somebody is good at these gadgets, modern technology, don't ask him to become an agriculturist. No, try to help him to go and even learn from somebody. Ask a friend to say, you have this, can you just train my son, or just give him a temporary job or what have you, for him to learn and be invested. I like what they do in the law firms, in lawyers, when they go to uni and whatever, when they finish, they are attached to a certain legal firm to practice there. To do attachments and these other things before they can even be, they've gotten their degree, but they have to be tested also there to do so. Sometimes even without any pay, but they just here in the UK, sometimes maybe with a mild pay, until they are now released into their mainframe profession where they are now practicing and what have you. So preparation is also a very, I've seen mistakes that have been made because somebody has just been pushed into something, or people made for them, or the culture or whatever. That's why I'm giving these examples.
I think one of the last things I want to touch on is, in the midst of all this, you mentioned earlier that young people have a lot of time. One of the areas I would say that young people struggle the most with is time management, managing their own time. When you have that much free time and the world is so open to you, there isn't a door you can go to and probably not be let in because everybody's so intrigued by what's out there. As a young person myself, there are times when my time management is absolutely brilliant, and I know that, good, you've done the right things. You've woke up early, you've gotten this done, you've gotten that done, and today you've maximized your 24 hours. There are other days where I can wake up and I know the first 8 hours of my day, damn, I've just let the day pass me by. The time has gone. How do you go about managing your time, especially the older and wiser you've got? Because obviously you go from a time where your time is allocated for you when you're young, and then you get time for yourself. How do you manage that switch? Would you say?
So this is called time planning, or planning your time, as we saw last time, as we mentioned in passing. What normally should happen as we put our plans of success or the plans for us to do well, to execute a project or a program, we should be a people that should know that nothing is created or achieved in a vacuum. We have hours that we should work. Jesus says, the night comes when no man works. So I work while it is day. So keep that in mind, that you can only work certain hours. You can only do effective work during certain periods. Here is the Son of the Creator, the Son of God, who says, I work while it is day, because the night comes when no man works. So you must know that there are night hours when you cannot work, or when you cannot do effective work. So there are people who are called morning people. There are people who are called night people. So we people are in different categories. I do my best jobs, or what I describe as my urgent plates, or things that are on the table that have to be handled mornings. So I'm not like a morning or night person, I'm an all-day person. But the best that I can tell you where I've achieved a lot is when the previous night, of course I have a plan, which I do. I know that on Tuesdays I do this. I have a weekly plan and I have a monthly plan, apart from the year calendar that you see. That is my calendar. I go by that. But I also have a weekly one, which is there. But I also have a daily, which is personal to Hoda. Where I know that apart from whatever is on my weekly plan in the office, monthly plan, year calendar, but there are still things that come in. As I told you, I am a trustee and in several, about 7. All those are demanding. As I can just give you this very massive, on Wednesday, I'm going to one trustee meeting in town, Nottingham City Centre. On Monday, next week, on 19th, I chair a certain institution. These are like institutions that are in the body of Christ, but others that are social enterprises which are doing community impact things which relate with what we are doing. So they've seen something in me and they'll put me on board. And I chair that meeting and it's on Zoom. But that very day, from 10 to 12, we do this every quarter. But from 12:30, I have to be in our intercession room on Zoom and what have you. So I'm just trying to show you that there are certain things that crop in, which are not regular, but they still come. And there are certain urgent meetings or some appointments that are not like planned, but somebody will phone me and what have you. So what do I do tomorrow? I normally know that on the Monday I do ABC. That's on the daily plan. But there are things that crop in. As I was leaving service, or whatever, somebody say, can I talk to you? Or I need to speak to you. Can I call you tonight or tomorrow? But you know, I have to fit in there. So what do? I have a definite working time where I have to wake up, do my chores, devotions, prayer, read the word of God, what have you, prepare myself because my heart has to be led. And I have to do that as early as I can. Next time we'll maybe speak about the times, the hours, time do you wake up and whatever, but just for the sake of time. So you have to have that definite planner of saying, I wake up at this time, do the personal preparation, and then start looking at the office. What am I doing in the office after I've prepared? Office work starts at this definite time. And this definite time requires me to make sure that within the first 3-4 hours of the morning, I have finished ABC. If I've done that, I would be saying, maybe almost half of my day's job has been done.
Yeah.
So I have to squeeze myself to that. I shouldn't take appointments there. I can take phones, but I cannot take meetings. I can take emergencies, but I cannot take a long haul meetings where it will take me another 2-3 hours. So that this should create. After that, when I relax, I take a break. I'm now saying, of the remaining things that need to be done, maybe this week or today, what is pertinent? So I start tackling them one by one. When the strength goes on and is there, then I can go to rest at maybe a late hour so that I can still prepare for the following day or start tackling something that I'll continue the other day and do that. So there are specific days that I have to wake up even earlier than the normal time because that day I have an extra task that I need to do. And so management of time is a personal thing, but you should know where you have more stress. Don't postpone these urgent or huge things, I call them huge bills, on your table. Don't procrastinate and delay them or postpone them and say, I'll do that later in the day. By the end of the day, you'll be panicking because something drastic has not been attended to, and then you start getting calls or follow-up, people are following. Something of the things it's like we are doing because somebody will be coming or somebody is expecting, or maybe there's a report to be sent. Maybe there are minutes that are very crucial. I may not do the minutes, but I am a crucial person in the sense that those minutes have to go to other senior people or they have to get to, I have to approve them. So approving means I have to go through them and make sure that everything, and it's not only one department, it can be eldership, it can be meeting with the presiding leaders, it can be meeting with bishop, administrative secretary. There are all those meetings that take place on a monthly basis and what have you, and other things. And also many leaders who are involved in other departmental things where you're involved, they send minutes to you, say, this is what happened, and you were there, so before we can release it, do you approve of this? Okay. Approving doesn't mean just say, oh yes, because my name we are present. No, you have to go, because anything that is recorded that is not right. 20 years later, children will be taking over and say, but those people are planning like this. So you have to make sure that whatever is put on with your handwriting, with your signature is perfect. And all those are tasks extra to what you have to do daily. So I'm just giving you, so you don't play around certain things because they are time sensitive. Yeah. These materials, they have to get to people for them to act, for them to be reminded, next month we are meeting on Saturday and whatever. So they have to be done clear. Yeah. So I'm talking of, so we may be doing pastoral work, but we are still in our office, doing administration, doing office tasks and all these other things. So all I'm trying to say is that it can help even a young man who is going to work today. Yeah. Let's say, time yourself, program yourself, don't postpone things that are urgent, don't procrastinate, don't delay certain decisions. Call for meetings. You have to call for meetings. You have to call people. You have to have even one-to-one meetings with some leaders, but also maybe group meetings with a few people. Sometimes emergency urgent meetings have to be called to clear things and what have you. All those are things that can crop up in and what, apart from your regular and so there is, in my case, as I summarize, there is a daily plan. There is a weekly plan. There's a monthly plan. There's a quarterly plan and a yearly plan. That is so. To follow that, you must have your calendar on spot. I have my calendar on my iPad, on my phone, wherever I am. Yeah. I have it on my phone, the main phone, where there's everything there, which is also on the iPad. That's like my computer, working computer. So wherever I am, I have to make sure that those things are steadily checked. There are appointments or other people who just come in, and there are appointments maybe from your GP, the doctor, from your dentist, and they also come in. They take your time, and on this day they only. And there's so many things. How do I not? I've never missed. I can't miss because it's so planned. So when there's a plan and a written and any appointment, anything else, don't keep in your memory in your head. Write them. They should be on your daily plan. When you say on 19th, that's why I was telling you, on 19th Monday I have a trustee meeting at 10 in Zoom. On 14th Wednesday, I'm off 5 to 6:30. I have a. But yet I'll have to come and be in a home cell. And sometimes people think, he's in a home cell. No, I'm entering that home cell, maybe 10 past, quarter past. But on the other side, I'm in a Zoom meeting. That telling them I'm zooming out at 1:30. And then people see, they don't know that I've multitasked at times when it has crashed, not because of me, but I needed to give a report in other sides. I'm there, but at half 6, I'm getting out. So I'm in a home cell, but I'm also finalizing a meeting, which I asked, can we start at half 4 to half 6, so that you see? So there are all those things that
Goes into it.
yeah.
Well, I was going to ask one more question. I don't know if we're running short on time.
No, you can ask. Information is important. Then we'll wrap up after that.
Okay, I think mine was heading back to something we spoke about earlier a bit, or something on my mind about how important are mentors and counsel in young people's lives. Because I know you can get counsel from so many different places nowadays, whether it's online or peer groups. Obviously, I think the main thing is from parents in the house as well. That's where you get it from. But there's also so many different forms you can receive that from.
Very important.
Yeah.
Very important. Actually, I would ask maybe, because I know there's another episode coming with a guest, but maybe after this, if you can just remind me, Pranit, that I should speak about the 7 types of training for Jewish or Hebrew sons or children. We're called sons of destiny. They were having to go through tutors. When they finished their training, their school, parents, even naming of the child, a father who said, this is my son who's trained to take after me, to take my company. They would come to a place where they would name them, the father's name. But at the appointed time when he has gone through tutorship with certain what they were called tutors or governors. When you read Galatians 4, it says, God had to leave his son under tutors and under view, because fathers, earthly fathers in Hebrew language were leaving their sons under the care of governor tutors until the father's time, when the father now would say, my son, you are appointed over my business to take over. And say, and they say it's the same thing with God, because it says at the appointed time, the father sent his son, born of the Spirit, born of the woman. After they've mentioned about tutors and governors taking care of a child to develop him and what have you. So there are actually 7 words that they use there. I need to speak into them and mention each one what it means. But maybe in passing, I may not mention all the 7. Training, as Proverbs 22 verse 6 says, train up a child in the way they should go. Because when they grow up, they'll not depend. We need trainers in this life. That's why we mentioned that sometimes even after you finish your secondary, tertiary education, where you are trained, where you are trained to do certain handworks, certain artifacts and other things that may not be well taught in secondary school, but here you now do the practicals to learn the technical things and skills, training, and then there's instruction, there's instructing. That is a part on its own. What is an instructor? Who is an instructor? They say you may have 10,000 instructors, but yet one father. 1 Corinthians 4, verse 14 to 15. So there is what is called instructing somebody. There is an age in which you instruct people. A baby cannot be instructed because he doesn't know. So somebody has to be somebody who can know. There is teaching. Teaching is also on its own. You have to be taught. You become a student, a learner, a disciple. You are called a student because somebody is teaching you. And then there is coaching. All these are areas that somebody has to be really brought up in. So you don't just say any person has reason to, even in the things that I'm hearing people say, I'm a destiny coach. If I'm giving titles, a coach of, or a coach on marriages. Yeah, but those are good things, because here people who may have made a mistake, or I don't know how to go about it, they go to those people. And there's counseling, as you say. I've mentioned 5 here already. Then there's tutoring. You see? And there's a 7th one. So all I'm saying that there's a proper teaching that we can look at to say you need, times you need counseling. Counseling and teaching are 2 different things. Oh, now mentoring, number 7, mentoring is also a category on its own. So for us to speak about, so I've mentioned even all the 7, because you are recording, you can easily pick up. So let me speak about what is mentorship. What is mentoring? Because there's a mentor, there's a mentee. What does a mentee have to? Elijah mentored Elisha. Moses mentored Joshua. Paul mentored Timothy. Jesus mentored the 3 key disciples. Mentorship, you give time, and the mentee sticks to you. Elijah was praying elusive, but Elisha said, "You know what? I'm not leaving you. I'll go with you." So, if you see my going away, not even giving him his mantle, his robe to this, praying, but the mentee was saying. So their characteristics of something you do if you are a mentee to stick to the. I know this person. Some of them, their mentors are not good at public relations. Some are private, some are shy, some are hardcore mentors, but some are very free flowing. So all these are things that the young people need to know in life. I need a coach here. I need a counselor. I need a tutor here. I need an instructor here. I need a teacher here. So all those, I need training here. All those are things that next episode, after maybe the guests have come, I have proper notes for those ones which I should do so that you can demarcate properly what it is and understand, because there's information for both sides, the one who is training and the trainee, the one who is instructing and the one being instructed, the one who is mentoring and the mentee. How can you know this one is an instructor? Not everybody is an instructor. Not everybody is a trainer. Not every priest is a coach. You go to somebody who is an expert in this field. I'm not talking of things in the world, but even in the Lord, there are some people who are very good at giving you a training on how you can study, meditate, and bring effective results of meditation. But there's somebody who can just get a scripture here and teach you. That's one scripture teaching you. You say, my life is not the same. You go, you start studying in a different way, dimension. They've impacted your life. They passed on the anointing upon you and whatever. There's a mantle that has been passed. So all these are levels of people who have been graced, gifted to handle certain things in the way that when they impart, they give to somebody, you feel there's an impartation. I always say a good parting is a parting with an impartation. So you need to be imparted and impacted by what this one who is the senior is pressing upon you when you go for the right counsel, tutoring, mentorship, coaching, instruction, and the right. Those 7 things. I think I've mentioned this. But as I say, there are characteristics of how you can identify this one is a counselor, this one is a mentor. Others are gifted, they've got so much quality in them that many of the areas you mentioned, they can help you. But not everybody can do well in those areas. So, those areas,
Definitely food for thought. I think, thank you, Bishop, again. We covered a lot today, we went into depth, and I think there's so many key bits we've gone over today, which I'm hoping our viewers, you watch over this episode over and over and over again and write these down, especially as well, and try and implement as many of the topics we've given you into your lives, into your daily lives. And I hope you enjoyed.
I've been your co-host Arama. This has been Joy, and this is Bishop Teapot. And this has been Crossroads, where faith meets real life.
Take off one of my eye. So it means.
So you have to take 2 from.
Look at that. That's an healthy competition. The competition that harms. So I'm saying there's a certain competition level that harms. It will either harm you or harm your friend.